Here we go. All right, everybody, welcome to our training. I'm going to try to go through a bunch of information here in as short a period of time as possible. And so this is going to be just a little training session we have on what's going on with Legacy Life Pro and just really focusing on how we start a new distributor. But before I do that, I want to go through some mindset training here. I had a chance to speak with Carrie Dickey yesterday and spoke with her for about an hour or so. And man, really got some really good information. And I've been listening to her book, The View from Venus. Also, I'm going to be going over some mindset things that I picked up from GoPro, as well as your first year network marketing. So I'm going to, hopefully you guys see the screen. I'm going to step away from the front of the camera because I've got a group here that are recording, so I'm going to be facing them. I encourage you to take notes, look at this, go over it. If there's anything that you have questions on, please write them down and then send them to us, and then we'll see about trying to get your questions answered as soon as possible. A couple things I want to go over is some of the principles in this business, and that includes that. Okay, so one of the main principles is that this business is about duplication, okay? It is your business, and you are an independent business owner. But in order to really be successful, there's a proven plan. There are things that we've done that have been done over the course of the last 50 years or so that really show that do work. Now, that's really important for you to understand when you're enrolling a new distributor, okay? And again, this is how I talk to myself. So if I seem to come across a little bit harsh or a little bit too, as I've been called in the past, militant, I love that. Just know this is how I talk to me. And if you don't relate with this, I certainly understand. My intention is certainly not to offend anyone or make anyone feel bad. You are an independent business owner, and you are perfectly entitled to build your business any way you want. My approach is very distinct in that, not necessarily distinct, but it's a culmination of speaking with a lot of the different elites, speaking with Carrie Williams, Carrie Dickey, going through GoPro, all the things that I've learned. Now, I'm only a Pro 5. We did go Pro 5 in 6 months, which from what I understand is a pretty good, decent accomplishment, but we're certainly not stopping in any way. And so here's how I talk to myself. And that is that this business is about duplication, right? When I enroll a new distributor, they are an independent business owner. I am not their boss. They can build their business any way they want. However, I personally reserve the right to work with only those who are coachable and willing to follow the system. So are you. You are not obligated to speak with or to work with someone or spend a significant amount of time with someone who doesn't necessarily want to follow the system. You love on them, you get them included in as much as possible, as many of the training sessions as possible, but you are not obligated to spend a whole lot of time working with someone who is not coachable, okay? You're not, as Carrie Dickey says, you're not their babysitter. You're not their boss, and you're not there to change people's diapers, okay? What would be better? To spend your time trying to convince someone to build this business or to go find someone else who really wants to do it the right way, okay? Trying to spend your time with a new distributor who really doesn't want to run yet. Spending your time trying to convince someone to run is very frustrating for them and you. And what you're going to do is you're going to frustrate them right out of the business. They will quit, and then they'll go tell everyone what a horrible experience it was, okay? You are not the Messiah. You cannot save everyone. You are looking for the people who want to build a business, okay? And there's some very unique things that you're going to be looking for, okay? One of them is you want to start every new distributor, you want to start them off with, let's see here. This is the new frontline distributor orientation. Now, it's called that for a specific reason, and that is this is your new frontline distributor orientation. This is not your organizational orientation. This is your front line, which means if you enroll someone, you are ultimately responsible for training them properly. Okay? This is your business. This is not your upline's business. This is not your crossline's business. This is your distributorship. This is your business, and this is your new front line. Now, the reason why we came up with this, I got this out from the book Go Pro, where they talk about a very successful distributor who went through this with every single one of his new front lines. So he's got their name, the date they enrolled, your name as you're the enroller, your name, and then you ask some simple questions like, what would you want us to know about you? And if they need more information, if they want to write more, they can write on the back of this sheet. Okay? What do you want out of this business? Now, this is really important because it really helps you to understand how you can best serve that particular new distributor. You might think that they're a business builder when in fact, all they want to do is they want to deal with products. That's it. If they want to deal with products, then that's the end of this orientation, as far as I'm concerned. You may spend some time with them teaching about products, but the rest of this orientation sheet has to do with business builders. The second category is what I call business casual. So it's someone who sort of wants to build a business, but they're not really wanting to go hardcore. They're not really wanting to do this as a profession. They just sort of want to build it, and they might treat it as a kind of a hobby. Well, then you can go through some of this, but you're not going to really go through it in depthly as you would someone who really is looking to build a business empire. And we call it that because I can't think of any other name to call something that is going to bring you a six-figure and even eventually a seven-figure income other than an empire. So when you have someone who wants to build a particular, a big business, then I go through the rest of this with them. So for example, I'll ask them, how much money would it take, would you need to make this worth your while? Now, we all want to make $1 million. That's a wish that everyone has, but really for each and every one of us, we come into this business with different expectations, different income levels. So you might have someone who really, if they made $2,500 a month, that would be enough for them to be able to leave their job and give them what we call self-determination, where they decide whether they want to go to work or not. For someone else, it might be $5,000 a month. For someone else, it might be $100,000 a month. So you really want to know, what do you have to work with? And you want to put that information right there. Okay? Now, how soon do you want it? That's really important, because they say, well, I want maybe in 6 months. So let's just say they want to make six figures, $100,000, and they think they want to be able to do it in 6 months. Now, I'm not going to say that it can't happen, but that's a red flag that maybe this person doesn't really truly understand that this is a real business, not a lottery. It's certainly not some get-rich-quick scheme. So that would be a red flag for me, and I might want to sit down with them and just kind of have them explain to me what their rationale is, why they believe that they can make $100,000, and it's possible in 6 months. When do they want to get started? Again, this is really important because it might alleviate some frustration from you and from them, because they might not really want to get started until next month, but you think they want to get started right now. So that's really important. Another one is, how much time are you willing to dedicate to build your business? How many hours per week? Same thing. If you have someone that says, well, I can give it 5 hours a week, they want to make $100,000 a year or $10,000 a month, for example, and they think they can do it in 6 months, putting in 5 hours a week. That is completely unrealistic. The laws of business apply to this business just like they do to any other business. And so then you want to spend some time with them, going over and very gently maybe help them to modify, because again, you want to under promise and over deliver. Never, ever over promise and under deliver. That is one of the main reasons why people get involved in network marketing and eventually drop out and then end up bad mouthing the industry. Okay, there are unprofessional distributors out there who are so desperate to enroll someone that they really don't take the time with their new distributor to really give them a reality check of what it takes. Then I go into number 10. So these are some of the things that are going to be really important for them, some tools that they're going to need in order to really build their business in today's e-commerce world, okay? Now, again, do they need to have a Facebook account, a personal Facebook page? Not necessarily, but it will make things a lot easier for them to build it. And the way we're building it, this is absolutely necessary if they want to build it the way we're building it. Once they're on Facebook, then of course they want to be on Facebook Messenger. And then we're going to go into Legacy Life, the Journey. Now, Legacy Life, the Journey, and there's some other ones as well. I know Mark Rodriguez and Dr. T and some of those folks in Dallas, they have a different Facebook page, which is dedicated. Ours is Legacy Life, the Journey, and what that one is really more, it's a very fun page. It's got a lot of events, product information. This is good for for prospects, customers, as well as distributors. And I'll go into what it looks like here in just a few minutes. I want to get through this page. Then you have Legacy Life Pro. Again, Mark Anthony and Dr. T and those folks in the DFW area, they've got a different one that's dedicated more of a professional education. For the sake of time, I'm going to simply just go through Legacy Life Pro today. And then again, if you are in Mark's organization, check with him as far as how his page corresponds with this one, okay? Now, our professional page, training page, is for distributors only. You have to be, whereas Legacy Life, the Journey, is an open page, open to just about anyone. Legacy Life Pro is a closed group, and you have to be invited and as well as accepted. Okay, then we have the LifeVantage app. Make sure that your new person understands how to utilize the app. Make sure you go through with them how to utilize their back office. And then also, you want to, we talk about developing a list, right? Your database. Well, you have to track it somehow. Again, this is a business. You want to be professional in the way you're developing your business. So we have a database that we use in order to be able to track your prospects. Okay, and so we have a database. You want to go through that with your new person. Now, if you're a new person and you don't know about all of this, I highly suggest that you get with your enroller and have them go over this with you. If they have not, I'm going to say it right now because I'm going to put pressure on all existing distributors, okay? If they ever get around me, I'm going to ask them if they've gone through this orientation, okay? Because I believe that this is so important that you know what you're getting. This is something that is duplicatable with every new person, okay? Do they have a database? Do they know how to track their database? Now, again, we use Excel. There's other files. There's people who use hard copies, and they have an actual file cabinet system where they kind of track whatever your tracking system is. But you should have a tracking system. You should know how many people you're contacting, what your average contact per week is. And I'm going to go through mine here in just a little bit, okay? So those things are so important that you go through with your new distributor, okay? The homework assignment, right? Completing phase 1 of the Legacy Life Pro orientation, helping them to develop a database of at least 500. That should get them through the first year. Our pace is anywhere between 10 to 20 contacts per week. That's really what creates the momentum in order to develop your business. In talking with the elites, I've never talked to any, I take that back. There's only been one elite distributor that I've ever spoken to that says they contacted less than 1,000 people. So if 1,000 contacts is what it takes to go elite, Be honest with your distributors. Don't let them think that they can just contact 2 or 3 people or 20 people, enroll 2 or 3, and then they can just sit back and let their group grow. It doesn't work that way, okay? I also recommend that their homework assignment, that they download GoPro, download the book, buy the book, or do the Audible book. I like Audible because I can listen to it while I'm in my car, while I am getting ready in the morning. And basically, I turn my car into a university on wheels. Okay, and then they go through all of the training modules. Okay, so you set the game plan to launch their business, and then this down here is what I consider to be your first year recommended reading. But as you see here, the very first book I recommend is GoPro. If you want to be a professional in this business and you have not read GoPro, you are kidding yourself. That is kind of the foundational book for building your network marketing business. Next, I would recommend your first year in network marketing. You're going to learn a lot about the scatter bomb and all the different distractions that can occur in building your business. The next one I recommend is our very own Carrie Dickey wrote a book called A View from Venus. I am in that book right now. I'm rereading that book again. It is absolutely spectacular. I love that book. It's actually, if you do the Audible book, it's narrated by Carrie Dickey. So you're going to actually get you almost picture her riding, I do anyways, picture her riding in the car with me. So GoPro, your first year network marketing, The View from Venus, The Business of the 21st Century by Robert Kiyosaki, Beach Money, and The Magic of Thinking Big. That should be your first year's recommended reading. Now, if you do the Audible book, you should be able to finish the book in the first week. I recommend that you treat each and every single one of these books like it's a textbook. Again, if this is going to be a profession, the thing that distinguishes professionalism from just a job is the education process. Do you really want to be a professional at the profession that has created more millionaires than any other profession in the world? Okay, the one that is the second highest paid profession, second only to athletics and entertainment. Doesn't it make sense that if you can create a 7-figure income, that you will want to be educated? Now, you may say to yourself, well, I don't like to read, or I don't, I just want to listen to the touchy-feely, feel-good books. Okay, well then, again, remember something. You are where you are. And this is going to be very hard for some of you. You are where you are because of the way you think. If you want to change your situation, you must change the way you think. The only way to change the way you think is to be exposed to bigger ideas. The only way to get exposed to bigger ideas is to put yourself in a position where you're looking at the right information. And I believe that these 6 books are the foundation for your first year in becoming a professional in this industry. Okay, so let's go through a couple things here. So this is now. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to come back up top, and we are going to go to Legacy Life Pro. So this is what our Facebook page looks like. Okay, you go to Legacy Life Pro. Actually, I said I was going to go through Legacy Life, the journey first. Legacy Life, the journey. As you can see, there are a ton of posts on here. Okay, we just got a bunch of stuff. Hey, there's Marissa, right?
Oh, it's a delivery.
Yeah. So, here's something real quick with her. So, she went Pro 7. Now think about it. She just got her Jeep, right? She just went Pro 7 14 months ago. She got her Jeep now, okay? Last month, she went Pro 8. She went from Pro 7, which is 100,000 in volume, to Pro 8, which is 250,000 in volume in about 1 year. That is some phenomenal growth. So I had a chance to talk to Carrie about that. And she said, yep, that's exactly right. So look at that. Look at the look on her face. How exciting is that to get your Jeep? And now, again, she's just getting it. And because remember, you go Pro 7 and you have to maintain it for a year before you get the Jeep. So by the time she finished qualifying for the Jeep, she had already kept growing and went Pro 8. And the interesting part is she went Pro 8 while she was in India, taking, I guess, some classes. I don't know if it was in yoga or some sort of a trip she took in India. Her business continued to grow, and she went Pro 8. So pretty phenomenal. So you see a lot of stories on here. Okay. Now, you can also use this as a search engine. So you come over here to the left, and let's just say you want to know, are there any articles on cancer? So you type in cancer, and boom, all the different stories that we've been able to post that have to do with cancer. Some of them are just different research that has been found on cancer that we thought would be interesting. Some of them are also, for example, Dr. McCord, when he did a lecture on protandem and how that works, how that affects cancer. Also, you've got some testimonials on there as well, okay? You can also type in, come over here, for example, and type in, let's see here, diabetes. Okay, and here you go, same thing. You've got some articles there on diabetes. All right, so that is Legacy Life, the journey. Again, it's an open group. It's open to anyone, customers, distributors, whomever. All right, and there's also some fun things on there. So we'll put some leadership stuff on there as well. The trip that we took to Puerto Vallarta is way down there somewhere, and I think, let me see here. I haven't tried this, so let's see. If you go Puerto Vallarta, is it there? Is it there? Probably should have checked this beforehand. Not there. Okay, so it's in there somewhere. All right, so that is, let's see here. You want to know more about NRF2? Anything you want to know on NRF2? All right, so that's Legacy Life, the journey. You feel free to look through it. Now let's go to Legacy Life Pro. So Legacy Life Pro, as I mentioned, is a closed group by invitation only. You can request to be invited, but you have to be approved. So same thing in here. There's a ton of posts on there. They're all just sort of randomly put in there. You can come in here under, now here's what we recommend for all new distributors, okay? You teach them to go into units. You see here on the left, you go into units. Now you see unit 1, unit 2, and so forth. You go all the way down, unit 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way down to unit 8. So let's go back to unit 1. You open it up, just click on any of them, and it opens up all of them. Here we go. Now you start at the bottom and work your way up. I like the idea of doing that. So you start at the bottom, go all the way down to the bottom. Okay, so the very first thing, this is an update for those of you who've seen this before. The very first module now is the new frontline distributor training. Okay, so it's on there now. Anytime we make any changes, the most updated one will always be there for you. All right. So you go through that. Now you want to do this with your brand new distributor. If you don't, your business is going to stall because they're not going to know what to do. Then we go into the connected economy. Gianni, Balu, and Stephanie, they shared this video with me, and it absolutely blew my mind. It's the information that I've known for 25 years, but I had never seen it posted or put together the way these guys did it. So they saw it at one of the academies that they went to in Tucson. Highly recommend, guys. If you do not miss any of the training sessions of the academies, whether it be LifeVantage, the LV Academy, or the Elite Academies. And that's what winners do. That's what leaders do. Real business builders, they want to go get educated. So I want to go through this with them. For the sake of time, I won't go through this video, but it is powerful. Somebody watches this and they get nothing out of it, run, move on. You've got the wrong distributor. Okay. Then we go into begin your training. Okay. So you go through. Now in this video, it actually is a training video on how to use Legacy Life Pro. So you could click on it and it gives you step-by-step instructions, just like what we're doing now. So you sit with your brand new distributor and you go through this with them. Do not just say, hey, just do this and go let them do it on their own. You want to sit there with them and go through it with them. The next one is take responsibility for your success. These are some very powerful videos by Eric Worre, where you can have Eric Worre teaching your new distributor to take responsibility for their business. Look, we are all independent business owners, and the sooner you realize that you are an independent business owner, the better. All right? The best thing that you can do is become an interdependent. This word right here, if you don't know what that means, look it up. You're not an independent. You don't want to build a business independently, and you might have some of those guys that say, well, hey, I just want to do it my own way. I know that, yada, yada, yada. Okay, they want to be independent. Okay, let them do that, okay? Let them do that. You love on them, and let them go out there and try to figure it out for themselves. This training page was put together to take someone step by step, to teach them everything that they need to know in order to be successful in this business, okay? So you don't want someone to be completely independent. You want someone who's interdependent. They take full responsibility for their business, but then at the same time, they plug in and they understand that they're part of a team, okay? Then you go into what is network marketing. So I think it's important that, first of all, you get someone that's a brand new distributor who says they want to build the business, and you get them in the right mindset to take responsibility for themselves, right? The second step is I want someone to understand what is real network marketing about versus, the old pyramid scheme thing that you hear a lot about. So this link, you can read through, then this link down here really takes you and educates you on the difference between what is network marketing versus what is a pyramid scheme. Then you go through some benefits of network marketing, building a network marketing business. Then you go through this particular link, right? The cost to get started compared to a traditional business. That is one of the main benefits of owning a business, a network marketing business, is that you don't have to come up with $50, $60, $100, $200,000 to start a business. Now, that also can be a hindrance as well, because people who end up, for example, starting with the silver pack, or even people who enroll as a platinum pack, it's only $1,250. I mean, for Pete's sakes. So people don't take it seriously. But I would venture to say, I would submit to you that a business that starts off with $1,250 but has the potential for a seven-figure income is something you really need to take a real serious look at, okay? Then the third benefit is of owning a network marketing business is leverage. So I go into that a little bit with them. I go into another benefit is the flexibility. So I go into that with them. Passive residual income. Now, all of these I'm going through with my brand new distributor. I'm not letting them go do this on their own yet. We sit down together and we go through each link, okay? Personal growth. That is so big, all right? Remember what I said earlier. You are where you are because of the way you think. If you thought like a Pro 10, you would be a Pro 10. The more I spend time with these elite level distributors, the more I realize I don't know squat about building this business yet. These guys understand what it takes to really build a business. And I understand that people come into this business with different education levels. We may have someone who may be a CEO of some major corporation who wants to get involved in network marketing, and they think that because what they did in corporate America, those same things, those same principles are going to apply to this business. Absolutely not. Okay. In fact, in the book Beach Money, he goes into that. about how there's a lot of corporate people who get involved in network marketing, and they really struggle with this because they want to sit back and just create a bunch of memos without understanding that it takes a lot of effort. They got to roll their sleeves up and actually go out and build a business. You may have someone who is in healthcare, some really high person, highly educated, who wants to build a business a certain way because of their background, okay? What you need to realize, and it may be an engineer, same thing, or a computer graphics person, a computer person who thinks that they don't necessarily, they can do everything through social media, that they don't necessarily have to learn how to deal with or work with people. Okay, guys, this is a people business, and we use technology to help edify and train people, but ultimately you have to be you have to develop your skill. And again, a skill is something that you can develop. You have to develop your skills in building this business. So then you go through, I usually stop right around here with a brand new distributor, and then I allow them to go ahead at that point to go through. Because by now, to go through all of this, it usually takes you somewhere around an hour and a half to 2 hours to get through that. So let's go back to, oh, one other thing real quick. Hold on. Down here at the bottom. So, oh, let's see here. No, it's up here somewhere. Let's see here. Something else that I just added to the to this module. I just added it today, and that is going to be, so go through LiveVantage, really bringing them up. So going through LiveVantage. Then let's see here. Mindset of an entrepreneur. And okay, so setting up the game plan. So let them know that, so step 4, setting up the game plan, parentheses 3. If you open it up, there's a link here. This link is the PowerPoint presentation that Carrie Williams has put together with her group. You can download it to your laptop. Let's see here. Come on. You can do it. It's really there, I promise. It's got the slides for the hair care line, et cetera, et cetera. All right. Once you click on, you can download it here in the top right. You can download it for yourself. There we go. Okay, so it's got all the slides. You can download the PowerPoint presentation for yourself. It's got the bronze medal award slide on there. It's also got the hair care line. So again, for the sake of time, I won't go through it. Let's see here. Let me exit out of that. And back to our Facebook page. So that is here under share the presentation, the 4-step game plan. So those are the 2 new additions, is the actual orientation sheet is on there, as well as the presentation slides. At some point in time, I need to figure out a way to upload the Excel spreadsheet so that you can track your database. I will work on that probably in the next couple of days on creating that, and then I'll put it on there somewhere, and I'll post it on the Legacy Life Pro chat to show you all where to get that. Okay, let's see here. A couple other things that we need to go through. Give me just a moment. All right, now the other thing I want to go through here real quick is the pace, okay? You know, Mark did an outstanding training that is available on, they did it through Zoom several days ago, a few days ago. He talked about majoring on the majors, not on the minors. Now, the majors are, or the minors are little things like spending so much time trying to get educated, although yes, you need to get educated, but you never want to get or develop what's called analysis paralysis. And that is the feeling that you have to know everything before you can launch your business, okay? Now, that is absolutely not true. You do want to get educated, but the only thing that is going to build your business is getting out there and showing the presentation yourself on a one-to-one. You don't necessarily have to do home meetings right away. Okay, some people are just, they don't want to do presentations. They have a fear of public speaking. I get that. But you want to get started with sharing the presentation as quickly as possible. So what I did was, let's see here. I'm going to pull up let's see here. There is okay, setting up the game plan. So we have the database and then the invitation. All right, so on the invitation, do I have it there? No, let's see here. Go to contact. Let's see here. No, let's go. If I go to under, I believe it's under script. Okay, so if you go into your search bar, you can find kind of a basic script. Now, again, this is a basic script. You can use this, but you can also personalize it for yourself. I've had several people ask me, so what are you saying? Okay, first and foremost, I want to make it clear that there is no master or perfect script. The key is to be genuine and professional, okay? Keep your posture, no begging. Remember, you're only trying to find the people who are looking. You're not trying to convince anyone, okay? Please don't do that. You really do yourself a disservice, and they're not going to join you anyways, and then you just make yourself look bad, okay? I always start every contact with, and so I set a goal. Let me back up for a minute, okay? After talking with every elite distributor that I could possibly corner, I asked them all how many contacts they had to do in order to build their foundation for the elite level ranks. Now, I didn't ask them how many people they had contacted up until that point, just simply to set the foundation for the elite level ranks, which is Pro 7 and above. And with one exception, who told me that they had contacted 800 people, everybody else said it was at least between 1,000 and 1,200, okay? So if that's the number, and you have to consider this, the person who said 800 was Carrie Williams. Now think about that for just a moment. Let that sink in. The great and fabulous Carrie Williams said that she still had to contact approximately 800 people to build her business. Why in the world would a brand new distributor, or let's just say, I understand a new distributor, they don't know any better, but why would someone who's been in this business for a while still think that they can just share this idea with maybe 20, 30 people and that they're going to build a business, or that they're going to enroll 3 to 5 people and then sit back and let them build the business all on their own, right? That is not reality. Okay. The reality is, if you are going to build this business, you are going to have to share this idea with at least 1,000 people. Now, if you think you're better than Carrie Williams, God bless you, go for it. I certainly don't have that delusion. I figure if Carrie had to contact 800 and everybody else is having to contact 1,000 to 1,200, I've got to go at least 1,000 contacts before I stop and take a breath. So get that. Please understand that if you really want to build a business, okay? I don't care if you've enrolled 30 to 40 people already. You're not done with phase 1 until you have personally contacted 1,000 people. Now, you can do that. What we set a pace for was to do 10 to 20 contacts per week, all right? That, if you're doing 10 per week, that means it'll take you 2 years to get through your 1,000 contacts. Doesn't that make sense? 10 a week, you figure 50 weeks out of the year, if you take 2 weeks off, 50 weeks out of the year, you're going to go through 500 contacts in your first year, 500 contacts in your second year. If you do 20 per week, you can get through it in 1 year. Now, what does the contact entail? This is what I'm doing, whether it be through Eric Worre talked about this in the GoPro seminar recently, and Carrie Williams kind of sent out the challenge. to do, I think it was about 50 contacts per month or so. Okay, it's something like that. So if you did at least 10, and it's text messaging, so text messaging or Facebook through Messenger. Okay, and the reason why Eric talks about text messaging as opposed to phone calls is that most people don't even answer their phones nowadays. They're busy. Certainly, for example, if you're talking to someone who's very busy or at their job, they're not going to stop and in the course of their day to answer their phone. So you're going to be, it's just a lot easier to send a message out, text message or a Facebook message, and then give them time to respond by the end of the day. So here's what I do. I've set up a system for myself. You don't have to do it this way, but people have asked me, what am I doing? So here we go. Every Sunday, and I usually start on Sunday and I can end it by Monday evening. So by the end of Monday, by Monday evening, I send out 10 to 20 contacts, okay? And so my contact is very simple. It goes something like this. Hey, John, I hope all is well. Do you mind if I ask you a quick question? I send that out. So I have the 10 or 20 people that I'm going to contact all ready to go. And now I start every message with a greeting. So I don't have that here, but I always start it with a greeting like, hey, John, I hope all is well, or hey, John, happy Sunday to you, whatever it is, right? Make it personal. And then I just say, I hope all is well. Do you mind if I ask you a quick question? Okay? Now, the reason why I start off that way is, especially on Messenger, if I send that text message out and I get no response, then I'm not worried about whether or not they just simply don't want to respond because they think it's a solicitation, a sales solicitation. They may not even have Messenger, okay? So I don't worry about that. I just move on to the next one. So it's a very benign way of getting them engaged in a conversation. That's my whole goal at this point is, so I say, hey, John, I hope all is well. Do you mind if I ask you a quick question? Usually they'll say yes, or they'll say, sure, what's going on? And then I say the following. Now, again, I'm going to throw a compliment in there. Make sure that your compliment is sincere. Please don't flatter people. If they're funny, talk about how they're funny. If they're thought-provoking or intellectual, so their compliment should be consistent with something that is consistent with them, okay? So they say, okay, I say, hey, John, I hope all is well. Do you mind if I ask you a question? They say yes. And then I say something like, I'm working with a team of people promoting a new biotechnology called nutrigenomics. You always seem to have a solid mindset. So the team asked if I would reach out to you. Let me know if you want to know more. Okay? Then they'll respond with something like, okay, so I'll send that out, right? Then they respond with something like, well, it depends. What is it? Or you have my attention. And then I'll say something like, okay, this is an ABC primetime report that aired back in 2005. It's a little dated and a lot has changed since then. But after you watch it, let me know if you want to proceed with more of the details. And I send that out. Now, if I send that out and they are not interested, and we've already talked about the fact that it's a business that I'm talking to them about, as well as the fact that they have an idea of what our product is. The purpose of the video is not to convince anyone to look at this business. The purpose of this contact in this video is to weed out the ones that are not interested. Why in the world would you want to go and spend an hour or 2 hours talking to someone who has no interest at all whatsoever? Okay? Maybe you do, but I'm just way too busy. I'm not going to spend my time. So this is a way to weed out the ones that are not. Typically, I get about 1/3 of the contacts that I send out this way to say, no, I'm too busy. I'm really not interested in looking at anything. Or they look at the video and say, it's just not my thing. I'm not into, whatever it is, right? So fine, the video did its job. It weeded out the ones that were really not looking. So I follow up the next day and I say, hey, was there anything in the video that caught your eye? If they don't respond, I send another one that says, hey, I'm following up to get your feedback on the information I sent you, or something like, hey, just following up to see if you wanted to discuss the information I sent you. If they say they haven't seen it yet, I'll say something, and that happens a lot. I'll send another message that says, hey, no worries. It's only about 9 minutes long, so I want to remind them that doesn't take them a lot of time, because they might be thinking that it's going to take them 20, 30 minutes or an hour. No, I say, hey, no worries. It's only 9 minutes long, but very informative. I'll follow up with you tomorrow. Then I send them the next day. I say, hey, as I promised, I'm just following up to see what were your thoughts regarding the news link I sent you. And if they don't respond, I'll send them another message that says, hey, I hope you had a great day. Listen, I don't want to bother you, but I also don't want you to think that I'm not following up either. So I was just touching base to get your thoughts on the information I sent you. Okay? I want them to know that I feel a little uncomfortable about bothering them. And that usually gets a response back. Hey, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to not get back with you. Okay? But if they still haven't responded, then I'll send this message out. I haven't heard back from you, so I will assume you're either very busy or not interested and just won't respond. I apologize if I made you feel uncomfortable. I believe you have a lot to offer, and I was hoping we could connect, okay? A lot of times after sending that one, again, they'll send me another message, apologize. So, you know what, I'm really sorry, I've just been really busy, et cetera, et cetera. If they still don't respond, move on, okay? You've already done a lot. You've really made an effort to contact them. You've been apologetic if you're bothering them. If they still don't respond, move on. Now, if I am contacting someone who's a female, and this would actually also work if you're a female contacting a male, if they don't respond, I'll send them something like, hey, I hope I didn't catch you off guard. I know you already know this, and I shouldn't have to say it, but I wanted to make it clear that my interest in talking with you are purely professional. My wife Diane and I, work very closely in building both of our businesses. We're genuinely interested in talking with you to see if this is a good fit. Please let me know either way. Thank you and God bless. So I want them to know, especially if it's a female, that what my intentions are strictly professional, okay? I may send this one as well. Hey, I would also like for you to meet with Diane. She's my business partner in both of my companies. I'll say, she's the brains behind it all. You'll love her. She's an amazing woman. And it's so important that they understand that I am going to edify my wife, okay? That she's, and when I send this out, you'll be surprised. So many women out there want to connect with other strong women, okay? And so I want them to know that Diane is the person that I really want them to meet Diane, okay? So I send that out. Okay, if they ask, they see the video and they say, well, hey, sounds really interesting, but, what would my role be in all this? Or, how can I help you? Okay, well, you got to kind of answer it without really going into too much of the details. So I'll say something like, our role is to be a consulting firm educating our clients. As far as the income potential, we're talking about 6 figures and beyond. Our team is made up of professionals from various industries. I'm in healthcare, but some are plumbers, electricians, et cetera. We work together, creating synergy, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll send them that message without really giving too much of the details. Because again, I want to just engage them in conversation, okay? I had a couple of them who say, well, it sounds really interesting, but I'm not in healthcare. I'm not a therapist, or I'm not a nurse. I say, no worries. I understand you're not in healthcare. That's not why I wanted to reach out to you. I and a group of other doctors and health professionals, we handle the science portion. I wanted to speak to you about helping to develop the training and education aspect. My understanding is that you're generally good with people, training, etc. Now, when I responded that way, the prospect said, wow, now I really am interested. Let's meet. And so Diane and her have an appointment set up for next week. Again, because I really want to get Diane involved with this particular person. She's a single female, okay? If they're interested in setting up the appointment, then I say, okay, from this point, it's probably better to have a meeting to see if this is a good fit. I want them to know that I reserve the right to allow them or not allow them into my organization. It is not solely up to them. So I want to see if this is a good fit for them as well as our team. I'm putting my schedule together for next week. I'm sorry. So I'll say something like, okay, I want to see if, from this point, it's probably better to meet to see if this is a good fit. I'm putting my schedule together for the next few days. So please let me know if Monday or Tuesday works for you, as well as whether the mornings or afternoons are best. As soon as you let me know, I will try to avail myself. I never say to people, okay, well, when are you available? You are putting it completely on them. It's unprofessional. and you make it seem like you're desperate and you're just willing to meet with them whatever day. So I let them know, I am putting my schedule together for the next few days, so please let me know if Monday or Tuesday, or if Thursday or Friday works better for you, as well as whether the mornings or the afternoons are best. So you give them choices, and then you can let them have some flexibility, but you want to control those options based on when you're available as well, okay? If they want you to explain it over the phone, so you get that sometimes, right? They say, well, can you tell me more over the phone before I meet with you? Look, don't do phone interviews, okay? I let them know. We run a very professional organization and have a policy to not do phone interviews, especially via text or messenger. I'm sure you can understand the rationale. If you are interested, I would be willing to schedule a quick 30 to 40-minute meeting to go over some of the details. If they will not meet with you, move on. Do not be desperate. That is why having 1,000 contacts is so empowering. If your contact list is only 20 or 30, you are so desperate to talk to every single person that you will jump through every hoop, go under whatever you're basically at their mercy. They will feel it and they won't enroll with you. Even if they do, they understand that they own you and now you are going to be at their mercy. Okay? Please don't do that. It's going to be so frustrating for you and for them. Control your schedule. Okay? Again, so then here is also the ABC primetime report. So that is what I do with my script. Again, every Sunday or Monday, I send out 10 to 20 every Sunday or Monday. And so that initial contact is done on Monday. Let's just say on Sunday night. I send out I hope all is well. Do you mind if I ask you a question? 7 out of 10 will say, sure. I send this one out that same day. And maybe out of those, half of those will say, what is it? And I can get the ABC primetime report sent out on that same Sunday. Most of the time, I'll follow up and do the rest of them on Monday, and then I have a conversation. So I start on Sunday. By Tuesday, I know whether or not they're interested. We've had dialogue back and forth. So by Tuesday, I'm already setting up my appointments for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. On Sunday, I start the process all over again. So that's my cycle every single week. And we are averaging somewhere around, even on the weeks off that we've been at Academy and some of these other places that I haven't had a chance to do a lot of contacts, I'm focusing on about 15 per week. We're averaging about 12 and a half to 13. So if you take those numbers and you divide it by 1,000, that tells you about how many weeks it's going to take you to do your 1,000 contacts, okay? So when someone says that they want to build a foundation for an elite level distributorship in 6 months, but they're only contacting 5 people per week, guys, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen, all right? We contacted about 350 people, properly contacted them using this script in one way or another, and I have modified it, I've improved it, I've added some, in case I've had some different questions, so I've added some of that, but basically using this same script, since day one, we've contacted somewhere between 300 and 325, it might have been close to 350 in 6 months to go Pro 5. That's what we did. Now, I believe that we will hit Pro 6 before we get to 500. And then I believe that we will be at the elite level ranks long before we hit 1,000. Okay? You cannot cheat the system. Now, you can contact as many people as you want, but I owe it to you to say that no elite distributor that I have ever spoken to, and if there's somebody out there that has contacted less than 1,000 people other than Kerry Williams, please give me a call, all right, because I don't want to put out misinformation. But every elite distributor that I've ever spoken to, they all said that it took them 1,000 contacts. So this is a numbers game. What's your number? The number is 1,000. Now, a couple other things real quick about the contacts. The reason why I focus on the contacts and not on the number of presentations that I do or the number of people that I enroll is because the number of contacts that you make is the only thing that you have control over. You have no control over how many presentations you do, right? Because it's really up to them whether or not they want to sit with you to go over the presentation, okay? I don't have any control over that. I don't have any control over how many people enroll in the business. It's whether or not I want to enroll them and whether or not they want to enroll in my business. So I can't control that. The only thing, the only action that I can control, I have 100% control over, is how many contacts I do per week consistently. So my focus is on 1,000 contacts as soon as possible, okay? So number one, it's a numbers game. What's the number? 1,000 contacts. Out of that, I believe that there is no way, the law of probability, there's no way that you're going to go through 1,000 contacts and not find 3 to 5 people who are going to duplicate and go to phase 2, and they're going to do the same thing and contact 1,000 people. Think about the logic. You really think that if you went through 1,000 contacts, that you're not going to find 3 to 5 people who are going to say, hey, I want what they have. I'm going to go out and duplicate it, okay? If you focus on phase 1 and just sending out your 1,000 contacts, you will not be begging people. Your posture will be completely different. Your attitude will be completely different. You won't care if somebody says, well, I'll get in, but I want to try the product first, so I need you to give me 2 weeks worth of product. We've had that happen a couple times, actually, okay? We had that happen last night. We had it happen actually when we first started in the business, and now I hear that there's been several distributors who have approached people, and they're telling them, well, if you give me 2 weeks worth of product, and then if it works for me, then I'll get in. Now, here's why that's a mistake. I'm going to venture off for here just for a moment. Giving people 2 weeks worth of NRF2, that's a bad idea. Number one, it costs you $20, okay? Pro Tandem for a month supply is $41, right? So it's going to cost you $20.50 to give them this product for 2 weeks. Nothing good can happen from that, because here's what will happen. This is not something they're going to go and they're going to actually feel something. You run the risk that they're not going to feel anything. Then they're going to tell everybody, well, yeah, I tried that. I tried it for 2 weeks, and you know what? I didn't feel anything. It doesn't work, okay? You're not going to feel something all the time, but it's just like if you take calcium, magnesium, and vitamin D for your bones. You don't take it for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden, man, my bones feel stronger already. No, it doesn't work that way. So you run the risk that this person's not going to feel anything, and then they're going to go tell everybody that what you're selling is a scam. Okay. Now, the other bad thing that can happen is that they actually do feel something and they do enroll. That's even a bigger problem, because here's now what's going to happen is that person's going to tell, that becomes now part of their story. So if, for example, if I did that, they're going to go around telling everybody, yeah, well, hey, the way I found out about this is I told Marco that if he gave me 2 weeks worth of product, that and I felt something, that I would enroll. And he did. He gave me 2 weeks worth, and man, in 2 weeks I felt awesome. All right. So now guess what happens? Every person that she goes and talks to, they're going to be coming to that distributor and say, well, if Marco gave you 2 weeks worth of product, then that new distributor, we'll call him John. John is going to have to give 2 weeks worth of products to all of his distributors. And if he goes out and contacts 1,000 people, he's going to have to give out $20 worth of product to 1,000 people. That's $20,000. And John doesn't have $20,000 worth of product to hand out. So guess who's going to have to do it? You. Because you created that mess by giving that guy $20 worth of products. And I don't think you have $20,000 worth of product to go and hand out. It doesn't work. Nobody goes to GNC or any other nutrition store and say, hey, if you give me 2 weeks worth of that product, if I like it, I'll buy it. Or you go to a restaurant and say, hey, I want you to cook up a filet mignon, but I'm telling you right now, if I don't like it, even though I've eaten the whole thing, if I don't like it, I'm not going to pay for it. Nobody does that. So why do those rules not apply to this business? Please don't do that. That is, if you do that, you are showing that you are a desperate distributor, okay, who doesn't have the confidence to know that if you show this thing to 1,000 people, you're going to find 3 that aren't going to ask you to give them anything but an opportunity. That's what you're looking for, okay? You're looking, and I'm going to say it because it's true. You're looking for 3 Marco and Diane's, okay? You're looking for 3 Carrie Williams. You're looking for 3 Sean and Michelle Poes, Maria Williams, who are Carrie Dickies, and guess what? They're out there. They keep enrolling. We have several people now that have taken this business and are running with it, okay? Richard and Connie, oh my gosh, those guys, they are nonstop. You want to find people like that. They exist, okay? Do not be desperate. Go do your 1,000 plans. Out of those 1,000 plans, you'll probably have about somewhere between 50 and 100 front lines. Some will be customers, some will be distributors, okay? You will probably have to have about 10 distributors to find 1 leader. So if it takes 3 leaders, to go Pro 10, how many frontline distributors minimum will you need? About 30, okay? So do not stop until you get through your 1,000 contacts. That's what we're teaching. That's phase 1. Then you find your 3 to 5. Maybe you'll be fortunate and you'll find 10 good ones. Phase 2 is you teach them how to do the same thing. Phase 3, by the time you get to phase 4, you should be an elite level distributor, all right, and making about 6 figures. So that's all I have for today. Guys, I hope this was helpful. And if you have any other questions, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording now. And if you have any questions, we'll stick around and answer those questions. Thank you.